The man they fired was their only hope. It was raining that morning. Not a drizzle, not a gentle mist, but a downpour that clung to everything. The kind of rain that seems to echo what you feel deep inside. I remember standing in front of the mirror, straightening my tie, not knowing it would be the last time I'd do that for that company. 12 years, gone just like that. The sound of the rain against the window seemed louder than usual, as though it was warning me of something that was about to unfold. I had always been the steady one, the one who got things done quietly, without fuss. But that day, something felt different. I couldn't shake the feeling that it was a calm before a storm. I walked into the building like I always did, early, prepared, invisible. I wasn't the guy who showed up loud or flashy. I was the one who quietly solved things before they became problems. I was the guy people came to when a client was furious or a deal was slipping away, and I never let them down. But that morning, without warning, I was called into a room I'd never even been inside before. The cold, sterile smell of new carpet mixed with the heavy, oppressive air of tension. I looked around. No warmth, no personal touches, just cold corporate efficiency. Sitting across from me was the new CEO, a man I'd barely spoken to since he joined 6 months ago. He didn't make eye contact when he said it. "We're making some strategic changes. You're no longer needed." Just like that. No explanation. No thank you. Just a thin envelope slid across the table, like I was some name on a checklist. 2 weeks' pay. 12 years. That was my value, apparently. I didn't say much. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. But when I got into the elevator with 2 security guards flanking me like I was a threat, I felt something inside me crack. It wasn't anger. Not yet. It was disbelief. I kept thinking, this has to be a mistake. Someone will realize. Someone will call. But no one did. I remember the walk to my car. Every step felt heavier than the last. Each raindrop that hit my skin seemed to mock me, as though the universe itself was adding to my burden. When I got home early that day, my wife took one look at me and didn't even need to ask. She just pulled me in and held me. I didn't cry. I wanted to, but I couldn't. It's like my whole body had gone numb. "You'll bounce back," she said, trying to comfort me. But even she could see the doubt in my eyes. You know what hurt the most? It wasn't the firing. It was the silence. No one from management called. No one from HR followed up. No one seemed to care about the dozens of major accounts I personally handled. No one even asked for a transition plan. It was as if I never mattered. But here's what they didn't understand. I wasn't just an employee. I was the guy, the one who stayed up till midnight emailing clients. The one who remembered birthdays, family surgeries, kids' names. The one who kept relationships alive when contracts were on life support. I didn't work for recognition. I worked because I loved the people I served. That's why clients trusted me. Not the logo, not the brand. Me. Weeks passed. I started applying for jobs, sent out resumes, went to interviews. But every door seemed to slam shut in my face. Overqualified, too senior, wrong fit. Every rejection chipped away at my confidence. I started doubting everything about myself. I'd spent my entire life building a career based on trust, relationships, and hard work. But now, it felt like all of it had been for nothing. I remember a sleepless night. I was sitting alone in the dark, staring at my computer screen, wondering if I had made the right choice by dedicating myself to this career for so long. Was all my effort really just disposable? Then one night, my daughter, she's only 8, asked, "Dad, why don't you wear work clothes anymore?" I couldn't answer. I just hugged her and whispered, "I'm figuring things out." It was the hardest thing to hear, My daughter, so innocent and full of love, asking me about a change that I couldn't explain. But then something happened. A former client reached out. Not a big company, just a small firm I had once helped through a messy product recall. The CEO emailed me directly. I heard what happened. I don't know what they were thinking. Do you have time to talk? I met with him. We talked. Then we talked again. And again. Within a week, they made an offer, not just for a job, but for a partnership. They asked me, what do you need to do your best work? And then, here's the miracle, they gave it to me. No red tape. No office politics. Just trust. I hesitated. Could I trust myself to rebuild? Could I go back to doing what I loved without repeating the same mistakes? I remember my last days in the corporate world, the loneliness, the sense of being expendable, and I realized that if I didn't take this chance, I might never feel seen again. I started building. I wasn't trying to get revenge. I just wanted to prove to myself that I still mattered. And I did. I didn't reach out to clients, but they found me. Word travels fast. Within weeks, the first contract landed, then another, then 10 more. I was working harder than ever, but I was alive, energized, finally seen. But even as my life started to rebuild, I kept hearing about how the old company was struggling. I heard from a former coworker, one I had mentored, that the board was furious. Client renewals were plummeting. Salespeople couldn't close because clients kept asking, "Where's Michael?" The CEO scrambled. They tried damage control. They even promoted that same coworker who had quietly lobbied for my position after I was fired. He thought he'd won, but he was in way over his head. He couldn't manage the relationships. He didn't understand them because he hadn't built them. Then came the lawsuit. Apparently, one of the biggest clients I had handled had not signed the new contract. They were waiting to see if I'd be involved. When I wasn't, they walked. And when the board learned that the CEO had never informed them about my termination before it happened, they panicked. Investors got involved. Shares dropped. Internal emails were leaked. I watched it unfold quietly. I wasn't celebrating their downfall, but it validated something I had started to believe again. I mattered, not because of power or position, but because I cared. And I saw now that people valued the connections I had built with them, not the profits I could deliver on paper. Just when things were stabilizing for me, another twist came. My wife fell ill. It was sudden. Tests, waiting rooms, fear, the kind that makes you question everything. I had finally rebuilt my life, only to feel like it was collapsing again. But this time I wasn't alone. The small company that had taken me in, they stood by me, offered time, space, support, that kind of loyalty I had given it for years. And finally, I was receiving it back. But through all of this, I started to see the impact of my work in ways I never imagined. Our small firm was flourishing. We were getting noticed. I was respected again, not for the numbers I could drive, but for the relationships I had built. Then came the moment of truth. I got a call from the industry's biggest conference. They wanted me to be the keynote speaker. I almost declined. Public speaking was never my thing, but I knew it was time. Time to share what I had learned. That people are the foundation of business. That trust, not profit, drives success. I walked out on that stage, and in the front row, I saw them. My former CEO, a few execs, my old coworker. They weren't smiling. I spoke about trust, about relationships, about how people are the foundation of business, not processes, not spreadsheets. I didn't mention them by name. I didn't need to. Everyone knew. Afterward, the CEO tried to approach me. He offered a handshake, a smile, a hollow compliment. Then, in a voice dripping with calculation, he said, Perhaps there's an opportunity to return. I looked at him, and I smiled. A real smile. Thank you, I said, but I already have everything I need. And I walked away. Now, I lead a team that sees people first. We're not the biggest. Not yet, but we're growing. Not just because we're good at what we do, but because we remember what they forgot. That loyalty isn't earned by paychecks. It's earned by trust. That real leadership doesn't discard people. It elevates them. So, if you're listening to this and you've ever felt unseen, overlooked, thrown aside, you are not alone. Your value isn't determined by the ones who couldn't see it. Sometimes, the best thing that can happen is being forced to walk away. Because when you do, you just might find that what you build next is better than anything you left behind. If this story hit home, share it. Someone you know might be in the middle of their own storm. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that speak to the heart of business, resilience, and quiet strength. Because sometimes the person they fired was their only hope.